I'm frozen. Hmm.
Hey, we're
Okay.
live.
We're live. All right. Welcome everyone to Surviving the Diagnosis. It's happened to all of us, our little Monday morning chat. I'm Sandy Conkar with caregiversanity.com. And with me today is Peggy Mangan. Hi, Peggy.
Hey there. I can see you, but you're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Yep, yep. Hi, everybody.
Well, hopefully the voice is coming across clear. I'm not sure why the video is not, because I show myself moving. Anything changing?
Not at all.
No. Maybe refresh your screen. That might
Oh,
be something
okay.
I
Yep,
should.
okay. We have had the gremlins this morning, so
We have, so I apologize for being late. Oh, I lost Peggy. Just bear with us for a moment, please. There, she's coming back. There you are.
here I. Hello.
Hello. Okay. Any difference for me?
You're moving.
Oh, great. Okay. So again, welcome to our Monday morning chat, Surviving the Diagnosis. It's happened to all of us. I'm Sandy Conkar with caregiversanity.com. I focus mainly on the caregiver. I have been a family caregiver for, well, I recalculated it last week, Peggy. It's been over 30 years, not almost nearly 3 decades. It's been over 30. Uh, but family caregiver to my mom, my dad, before he passed. And I focus on the caregiver because we go through similar emotional stress when the person that we care for, our family member, our friend, is hurting. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's happening with them. So that's like our pre-diagnosis uh, um, phase, and then we move into the diagnosis stage, and that can be challenging as well. And we, as the friend or the mom, just a mom, because I more easily identify with the role of mom, wife, and friend and daughter than I do the traditional title caregiver. Um, and I guess that's why when my son's accident occurred, I didn't realize that I was under so much stress. I was just doing what a mom would do. So on the shows, we'd like people to connect with us, share their stories, and on my side of it, I will help with eliminating, uh, quite possibly, and if nothing else, reducing the levels of stress that you're experiencing. And I'll just hand it over to Peggy.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. Yeah, I come with the patient perspective for all of you that are patients, and because I am, and just a little recap. I was diagnosed 8 years ago with a terminal cancer, and through a lot of self self healing and that perspective, I have managed to stay alive for 8 years. Yay! And
Yay.
and I couldn't be healthier right now. So I got into what we've been talking to you about, the energy medicines, the energy psychology kind of thing. But we're not psychologists, and we're not diagnosing anyone. But we do this energy work that does help uh, with stress and just that all over the chase your tail thing that all patients go through, and their caregivers. And what we try to do is reduce that stress so that your body can heal, so that you can think clearly as a caregiver. And that's what we're all about here, and offering information. If anybody has any questions, we're on Facebook, right, Sandy? We've got our um, little guy down there that we can see your comments.
Yeah,
And
if we can direct them to survivingthediagnosis.com
uh-huh.
/GH, that's Google Hangout, uh, hyphen I want access /live.
Right.
I'll say that again, survivingthediagnosis.com /GH dash I want access /live. And that'll take you to our live page where the video, this same video, if you're watching, is playing, and you'll be able to comment all on that one page at the bottom with the Facebook. That way, because if you're just on regular Facebook watching, um, we don't interact real easily with that. So if we can get you over to this page, we can do so much more easier.
Right, right. So we've got a whole hour here to chat with you folks. And I was just thinking, Sandy, I have been a caregiver myself with parents that have passed. And of course, being a registered nurse, holy moly, I have been a big caregiver. I was thinking about that.
Yep.
And you and I talked about when someone is ill and the caregiver is just frantic with concern and doesn't want to leave the bedside and is getting tired themselves and wore out. We talked about them getting someone in to help sit and be with the person.
Hmm.
What's your take on that, Sandy?
I don't think that especially if you're a family caregiver, I don't think that that is the first thing that comes to mind. For me, like I say, I was a mom doing whatever needed to be done. So it was, I was the one that could only do it, and I was the one that could do it the best, help the best. I knew exactly what everyone needed. Um, so that never entered my mind to bring someone in to to help out. And I was in it. I was in a place where this was my normal because my life had always been on the go and busy and doing whatever needed to be done. You'll hear me say that constantly because that's what I did. I just did what needed to be done, got through life, and this is the way it is. But when I was introduced to emotional freedom techniques, I was gently informed that I needed to heal first before I could really help anyone else around me. And I didn't understand that. I said, I'm perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with me. So, right there, I didn't think that I would need help to bring anybody in. Now, I have definitely changed that because fortunately my mom is fairly independent, but I've already had many conversations leading into as she ages that if she needs personal care, I'm not going to be the one that does it. I said I'm going to have a home health care nurse come in, or someone a live-in or something when we cross that bridge. Because I said I know. I just even when she has a cold or uh, lately she injured her arm. My bless her heart. She tried to move a 20-pound bag of topsoil out of her car, and she uh, kind of pulled some muscles in her shoulder. And I said, if this is any indication what it would be like that when you can't actually do something, you no longer can do, I said, I'm definitely going to have somebody come in because there's just too much of that tug and pull between mother and daughter. So I see that now where I wouldn't have seen that before. And so even if you get somebody to come in and do the dishes for you, that would help you out, or if you have somebody come in and sit by the person, your spouse, your partner, your child, while you go out to the grocery store, that is very helpful to reach out and ask for help and ask for it because sometimes what I noticed, Peggy, when at the beginning of many situations that I've gone through anyway, people will automatically, I mean, it's just human nature, can I help? What can I do for you? Do you need help over here? Do you need help over there? And what's our first reaction? It's usually, oh no, I'm fine. I can
I
do it.
can
No
do it.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I can do it. And it, they'll only ask so much, and then it's like I'm not even going to bother because they're going to tell me no anyway. So
yeah,
you know, then there's going to be a time that you start feeling overwhelmed, burned out, and kind of lost. Like, gosh, I don't have any help. I can't do this anymore myself, and nobody's wanting to help me. Well, it's if you think about it, you pushed them away unknowingly, really,
right,
unintentionally.
right.
And you appreciated their help, you appreciated their love and concern, but at the time you didn't see that you would need it. So I would highly recommend that in the beginning of things, and even now, just reach out and say, you know what, you offered before, and I could really use your help now if that invitation is still open.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. You need to ask for what you want,
Hmm.
and I'm sure people will be more than happy to help.
Oh,
But
definitely. If they can, certainly. It's like even if
right,
it's just 10 minutes or a half hour, yeah. And on the other side of the coin is if you see the the caregiver, the person just kind of really, instead of saying, you're really stressed out, you need to do this, you need to do that, just start doing the dishes.
yeah,
Just,
yeah,
bring in a bag of groceries.
right,
I'm sure that they'll pay you back for it if that's a concern, but it's just do it. See what they need done. Uh,
right,
Pull the vacuum out and start vacuuming. You know, if you felt that you could help them in the beginning, then you're close enough friends that you could probably feel comfortable pulling out their vacuum and just vacuuming up or running the dust cloth. So it's just those little things because when we sit down as a caregiver, we're so tired that you just then start seeing things that aren't getting done that you used to do.
right,
Your home isn't being kept up like it used to be. You're not taking care of yourself like you used to. Um, and then you begin to feel disconnected from your friends because you uh, don't take that time to go out because you're afraid to leave their bedside in case they need you.
right, right. And on the other hand, being a patient, um, in that situation where friends and family come in and they say, well, what can I do? And trust me, when you're going through chemo and you're just totally out of it, um, sick, the last thing you want to do is go through the list of what needs to be done. And I really appreciated people that came in and just helped my husband, just did it, like you said, just grab the sweeper, do the dishes. Yeah, that really that is very helpful. And to have to go through a list of what needs to be done, then you start feeling guilty. Well, here they are doing the dishes or folding the laundry. Just do it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
And
right.
the other thing that I suggest, because I also took care of my dad, and I think I mentioned on last week's show too, that I made a list of his friends, their names, their addresses, where he banked, where he got his hair cut, um, where he usually played golf, things like that. Because if I couldn't get hold of him, I had that information. I also had the information of his medical insurance and uh, the closest hospital that that he could go to, and that way, if I couldn't get hold of him, of course, I went into a fizzy because I wasn't able to get hold of him. He lived out of
Right.
state. So I automatically thought, it's like, oh my gosh, where is he? What's he doing? Even though he was healthy, that's the thing. He was healthy uh, at first, but when I couldn't get hold of him, I reversed roles. I remember one time I couldn't get hold of him. I called him on a Saturday, and this was before cell phones, so I was calling on the landline. and Sundays was the cheapest day at the time, so I'm dating myself. Um, you know,
I was
after
right there.
five, you know, after five, it was exciting because it used to be after seven, and then it was like they changed it that, oh, you could call after five and it'd be cheaper.
Right,
Anyway,
right.
so I tried to reach him all weekend. I couldn't get hold of him. I left a message on his voicemail, but that's when I realized I didn't have any information on him other than where he lived. That was it. And uh, he called me on Wednesday because he got my voicemail off the recorder. And he just kind of chuckled. He goes, "Oh, hey, you know." And I go, "Where have you been?" I said, "I've been trying to reach you for 3 days. Don't you ever go away. Don't you ever go away without telling me where you're going."
Right,
You
right.
know, and I just had to chuckle because I remember those words growing up, you know. Don't you
Sure.
ever leave the house without telling me where you're going. So,
Yeah,
but from that point on, that's when I realized that I needed to have something written down. And the thing that's nice is not just for me, but as the caregiver, as the daughter, but if you have someone around you and you're frantic about trying to get, you know, an air ticket, you know, a plane ticket to get where you need to go, pack your stuff, get in the car to drive where you need to go, you you probably call a friend and say, "Hey, I'm leaving town." And they could come in and help you pack, or they can have that list and start making calls for you. So you don't even have to think about it. It's just pull it out, you know where it's at, and there it is. So
right.
that is self-care for the caregiver. So, you know, think about for yourself, and that will help when the parents go, "Well, you don't need all that information on me. You know, you don't, that's personal information. I don't want to give that to you." You know, some depending on the, I guess, the generation of parent, you may run across that. My parents were, you know, uh, through the depression, and they were very, very resistant of sharing any kind of financial information, banking information, um, just because parents didn't do that at that, you know, that generation. That was
Sure.
all, and their health too. That all that information they wouldn't share. Very few would share that kind of information with their. "Oh, I'm perfectly fine." Now you see where you get it. See those family rules, the unlearned beliefs. You know, you learn, find out where they should come up. So,
Yes, yes. I
but yeah, it's
remember that from my dad too. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm fine. I can handle this.
And
Hmm.
you know, back to your original question, I mean, a lot, it depending on what age group we're speaking to, and I'll just go from my experience, um, they have a level of expectation of their children. You are the one
Hmm.
that's going to take care of me. You're the one that has to do this for me. So when you even begin to think about, well, I'm going to bring somebody in to help bathe you, Dad, or I'm going to have somebody come in and help feed you, there's a lot of resistance. It's like, "You're my daughter. You will do this. No one else will." And when
Yeah,
you're up against that, it's like, "But don't you understand how burned out I am?" And
yeah,
then there's parents that will give you the guilt trip. "Well, I sacrificed for you all your life, and you want to push me off onto somebody else."
yeah,
Those are tappable issues. You know, like we say, we do the tapping and the matrix reimprinting. And you know, those are the issues that we want to invite people to the shows and share so we can help uh, reduce some of that intensity around. Even if this happened, I mean, with my dad, it's been, goodness, I don't know, 16, 17 years now, and I can still hear him, you know, saying certain things to me as his daughter who was taking care of him.
yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it's helpful even that far from removed from the actual event.
Oh yeah, those memories never go away. You
Yeah.
lived it with them, and it was a huge piece of your life at that time. I
Mhm.
remember it was for me, and those memories never go away. You just, tap on them like we do.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I would like to also state again to please, if you'd like to join the call live, go ahead and just go in or to view the show and share your comments. It's survivingthediagnosis.com/GH. I want access /live. And that should get you to our live page, and you can add your comments and your questions right at the bottom of the page there. And I think I have it set up that the news comments are at the beginning, so that's helpful. And let's see.
I just saw a little blue box pop up, Sandy,
Right.
but I got my glasses on and it went away.
Okay. Well,
So I
let's
don't know what it said. It was a blue box. It said Sandy something.
okay. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, if we're missing your comment or question, do it again, and
Yeah.
we'll try to catch it this time.
Yeah. And you can also just go on Google Hangouts and do a search for Surviving the Diagnosis or my name, Sandy Conkar, and the live show should come up fine as well that way. The only reason that I have set it up for asking for your name and email is so that I can send out on Monday mornings only a reminder of the show. So it's one less thing that you have to keep track of. It just comes in. It comes in first thing in the morning around 6 to remind you, and then again on the live show, or that we're on air.
Right, right. So we'd be happy to answer any questions or tap along with you on some issues. Anybody that has a need this morning? I just wanted to touch on the patient's aspect a little bit more, Sandy,
Okay.
about getting help or accepting help or asking for help. Um, we go through a thing where all of a sudden, and this is with 3 words, your life has changed forever. You have cancer, and that's in my situation, or your son's, you are paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us, don't want help at all. Maybe just family members, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, and I'll just reiterate what I said a minute ago. It's very nice that people do ask. I couldn't be left alone when I was getting my treatment because my counts were down so low, and but my husband had to travel, and I recall, well, what are we going to do? You can't be left alone. So we started putting out the call to my sisters, friends in the area, and we had all kinds of offers. And one of my sisters did indeed come and stay with me, so that was a comfort to John while he traveled, and to myself. I wasn't left alone. You just never knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted, to touch on the fact that, yeah, life is different now. Life is really different now. But you do need friends, family, and don't hesitate to ask, because it's really they'd rather be helping than just sitting there helpless.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
And how was your sister when she was with you? Did you notice that you were coming from a patient standpoint or from the caregiver? Because you had mentioned, I mean, when you're the patient, you're also the caregiver at the same time because
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
concerned about everybody.
Yes. There was times that I would flip into the caregiver mode, and here I was very ill when I was diagnosed. I got sick really fast, and I recall being in the hospital, and I have 4 other siblings, and yeah, and my daughters, and I was pretty much taking care of them, uh, consoling them.
Mhm.
And that's kind of I don't know, I'm the firstborn and I always did take care of them. So you may find that people that you can really, be yourself with are the people you're going to be the most comfortable around.
Mhm.
Um, and not have to put on a big front that everything's okay, it's going to be fine, when in fact it wasn't supposed to be fine. And it was hard to get that in my head, yet alone tell them that.
Mhm.
And yeah, talking about dads, my dad came in and he said, "Well, you're going to be okay." I said, "No, I don't think so, Dad.
Mhm.
I'm told it's pretty bad." And I could just see the look in his eyes. It's and then that in itself, when you tell someone it's not going to be okay, or that I have cancer,
Mhm.
you always get this reaction. You can see it ever so subtly in their eyes. It's like, "Ooh, I don't want to hear that." Or so a cancer patient, when when you're disclosing the fact that, yeah, I'm pretty sick,
Mhm.
um, even family members, you want to protect them. So the fact that I told him, yeah, it's pretty bad, I'm sure he didn't want to hear that, but
Well,
you
no,
know,
you're his little girl.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So it's a um, kind of a real touchy, because, like I said, if there's people that are open to you talking, because cancer patients need to talk about it, or any patient that has just been diagnosed with a serious illness or condition like your son's,
Mhm.
there's got to be that one person that's very open and just lets them talk. And that's, to me, was so important, that I could speak my heart and not see them want to run away. They were
Right.
still there with me,
Mhm.
and that meant a lot to me. And as does, I'm sure, with all cancer patients. I ran a group, a support group, for several years, and that was kind of a universal thing, that the people that could not handle it, you just don't have much to say to them, and them to you. "Well, you look good today," they say, or you just say, "Okay, thank you."
Mhm.
What can you say? It's you
Right.
know pretty sick, and pretty bald, and never looked so bad in my life. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
thank you.
yeah. We as a human race, we don't know how to react. We don't know how we're supposed to act around people that have disabilities, whether they're ill or they're physical or mental disabilities. It's
Right.
and when we come, I know with Keith with his being paralyzed, it's like, I'm here, I'm down here, talk to me. So
Yeah.
like when I'm walking down the street and I see somebody coming in a wheelchair and there's somebody that's walking with them, I I say hello to the person who's standing, and I make eye contact with the person that's in the wheelchair. And I
Yes.
said, I either nod or smile or hi. I don't
Right.
I acknowledge them because
Right.
they're human beings. The only difference is they're not standing, and
Right.
you have cancer, you have an illness, you are trying to digest that information and what's going to happen, what can you expect. Um, so you don't know really how to react, or not react, but to speak to that person because you don't know where they're at. So it's
Right.
both. That's why we came together, because it's both sides of the coin. We need to learn to ask the person we're caring for, what do you need from me? as the
right,
caregiver. What do you need from me, instead of my saying, oh, let me do this, as an example with Keith, let me help you. I'm mom. I'm going to do this for you. I'll do your laundry. I'll cook your meals, and that's not, in the end, that was not what he wanted. He
right,
wanted to have, to regain his independence.
right.
Now, I remember, I've told you this story, but I'll share it, is that I remember my mom would come over to visit and Keith would be doing his laundry. And I have a stackable washer and dryer. And the dryer was a little challenging for him to get his stuff out of, but he did it. And my mom turns to me when he leaves the room and says, "Why aren't you doing his laundry for him?"
Yeah,
It's like, what a horrible daughter you are. You're not. And
yeah,
it's like, he is fully capable of doing his laundry himself. If he needs help, we have an agreement that he'll ask, because hovering over him and going, "Oh, do you need help?" You can sit there and you can watch him do something, and it's like, "Oh, I could help him so much quicker. He could be up and out the door in seconds instead of 15 minutes."
right,
But
right.
that that was my old mindset. Now things take 15 minutes, and that's okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
you just plan a little bit differently, and
It's a new level. Yeah,
you just take a deep breath, and we're going to get where we need to get when we get there. And
right.
if things over here don't get done, then that's okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I like about our chats on Monday morning.
Hmm.
We can clear up some of the ambiguous areas for people, especially in dealing with someone who has just had a terrible, terrible accident and become paralyzed, or in my situation where I became gravely ill.
Hmm.
Um, they appreciate, and I'm coming right from that stance. They appreciate you communicating with them on their level,
Hmm.
rather than standing over them and saying, "Wow, you look good today,"
Hmm.
or just look them in the eye and say, "Well, how are you doing today? How are things going?"
Hmm.
I always appreciated that, and then that gives you an opening. That gives you the person an opening to talk heart to heart with this individual who's
Right.
struggling. I think isolation was one of my um, probably predominant um, feelings during when I was sick, because that want to make it okay for them situation put me right into the caregiver mode, and I wanted to make it okay for them. But I did have a few friends that just talked heart to heart with me, and really let me air my concerns, and didn't get all frightened when I said, "Well, yeah, I am afraid I'm to die. I'm
Hmm.
not ready. My kids are young, and I'm not ready for that." So, but see, they would
Hmm.
listen to me, whereas the other people that couldn't handle it, they'd say, "Oh, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
You're not going to die." Well, I we all are going to die.
Exactly.
It's just it's just when you're
Hmm.
not ready for it. You're just not ready. We were building a house in Virginia and getting ready to start a new life in the state where my family, my kids lived. And I was applying at a Virginia hospital. I was going to work there, and it just boom, everything fell like a ton of bricks. Those three words: you have cancer, or you have diabetes, or
Right.
you have MS, or you are paralyzed. Those three words change
Hmm.
your life
Yeah,
forever.
you are,
And
you know,
yeah,
so. And then
Yeah.
it's like a whole
Yeah.
new,
It's
your normal changes completely. And,
right.
I look at it now,
Right.
it may be hindsight, but I look at now that it changes for the better. That may not seem like that in the very beginning because of the struggles and the financial strains and the emotional strains and the unknown, but um, our experiences are lessons. And I mean, I wouldn't be here on Google Hangouts today if it wasn't for Keith's uh, accident. And actually, I may be, but in a different way. But I'm here addressing caregivers and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that it's okay to be really upset. It's okay to be angry, but there are ways that are easily that you can easily move through those what I call seasons of
Uh-huh.
caregiving, those moments, and moving you through them easily so you can move on with your work, what you need to do with a much more clear mind, more focused, um, and less stressed. Because
Right.
the stress affects our body, it affects our organs, it affects our emotions, just affects everything. And if we can keep that level of the intensity of the stress reduced, um, then we're helping ourselves internally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to also help us externally because of our responses and reactions to things that happen along the way that
Mm-hmm.
are unexpected. I mean, you have so many things that need to be done on your calendar every single day, between doctor appointments and exercises you have to do and just whatever you have to do. And if something gets switched up, it just throws everything out of whack.
Right.
And that can be upsetting, it can be frustrating, and then it can also be overwhelming in the sense that, oh my gosh, what do I do? I was supposed to do this and I can't do that because this happened and now it's midnight, you know.
And it
So
adds more stress,
definitely.
much more stress.
Yeah. So if you go through the different techniques and that are out there to help you naturally move through these things, you'll it'll be just so much better.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that, well, that brings us to tapping. And
Hmm.
I learned to tap when I was at the end of my year, and they said I wouldn't live a year, and
Hmm.
I was just beside myself. And one of my friends introduced me to someone, and I think I referred to this last week. And anyway, this tapping thing, I thought, well, what do I have to lose?
Hmm.
So lo and behold, we tapped on a lot of the stress, a lot of the trauma, just that goes with hearing those words, that goes with being put in a position of things done to you, have no control of yourself or your body, and then to go home with the um, knowledge that this may come back and you are again helpless. So I see tapping as a way a caregiver, a patient can take control of their situation and reduce that stress, dissipate those traumas that stick in your mind. I remember your trauma, Sandy, where um, your son was in the hospital and he needed a procedure that the nurses, I'm sorry nurses out there,
Hmm.
but some of us do go a little bit far with no he doesn't, and the mother's saying yes he does, and they're saying no he doesn't. Well, ultimately you were right, and I recall that story, and that's a trauma in your life because they didn't listen to my advice, the mom,
Right.
and you tapped on that, and I've tapped on many things that happened to me in the hospital. Oh, I told you about my diagnosis, and then I'm thinking of having these ports put in and how painful that was, and being a nurse, and one of the main focus of a nurse is to assess a patient's pain and help to alleviate it, whether it's to get an order from the doctor, whether it's to change position, whether it's just to listen. Sometimes just listening will reduce the pain. But when they didn't listen to me, you know, I felt totally betrayed. I'm a registered nurse. I'm in this bed, and you're not listening to me. So I felt really bad about that. And I just wanted to mention here that I am writing a book, and I'm presenting it as The Renegade Nurse. I will be an advocate for patients in any health situation. I'm advocating, I'm writing my experiences and how we can help you with this tapping and with this matrix reimprinting that I do. And the name of the book is The Renegade Survivor, From Cancer to Joy and Beyond. That's The Renegade Survivor, From Cancer to Joy and Beyond. And it'll be out in 14, so hopefully not too much longer. I keep signing up for all these other things going on, but it's all together. I just have to get it out.
Yeah. And actually what they could probably do is email you, Peggy, couldn't they, to if they're interested in getting on a list of, you know, pre-launch, so they get first dibs when it does go to print or get published?
Yes, yeah, I can give you the email address that you would want to contact me. It's Peggy Mangan, Mangan, and that's at joyaftercancer.com, and that will get to my inbox. And just request you know, being put on the pre-launch list, and we'll put you on that and notify when the book is going to be launched. Okay.
Yeah, and that'll be good. That'll be a good book to follow, and some good steps. I think that getting a good support team, whether or not it's whether you're a patient or you're a caregiver, the support is so important. And I know there's a lot of people that, you know, I can do this myself, but I think that reverts back to the family rules, the learned beliefs. You know, when you're raised, you know, when you're younger and you're asking for help, one of your parents or an uncle or somebody, teacher, oh, you can do it on yourself, all yourself. If you ask for help, you're weak. You can't do it, and that's
Tie
a
your
learned
own
belief.
shoes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Tie your own shoe. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, but I need help. Well, I know that they're trying to teach you to kind of be independent, but at the same time, adults need to be more conscious of how they're pushing the kids, you know, because those are learned beliefs. And then when you get to situations like this, and you find yourself in a situation like this, it's like, why do I feel that I can't ask for help? And really, if you take a second and you just think back, when was the first time you asked for help and you were denied it, or you were told, suck it up, you know, you can do this?
That's tappable.
That's a very tappable. Yeah, that's a
Yes.
very tappable issue. Yeah.
See,
So
these are things, folks, that when you learn this tapping procedure, and Sandy has a chart that she'll tell you how to get. But when you learn this and you find you're going way back to 5 years old, we'll say, or 4 years old, tie your own shoes. Well, you know, that set up such a negative feeling in your body, and you can tap that feeling away with EFT. And it's just an amazing thing. So do you have the chart, Sandy? Can you tell them?
I do, and yeah, I do. Let me pull that up here, and I'll put that in the link so everybody can get it.
And you just follow the points on this little character, and the points are pretty basic. They're the same points that acupuncturists use, and here I am tapping my head, but that is a large spot on the body that has meridian endpoints, and it's right at the crown of your head, and then on the inside of your eyebrow, and then on the outside of your eye, then under your eye, under your nose, on your chin, between the lip and fatty part of your chin, on your collarbone. I like to do a double on that because
Yeah.
I can feel it immediately calming me down. And there's the little monkey spot that I tell the kids to do right under your arm where the bra strap goes. And it looks like you've got it ready, huh?
Yeah, actually, if you just go to my website, caregiversanity.com, and click on G plus Hangouts in the menu bar, you'll see a drop-down menu. The SD for surviving the diagnosis tapping diagram, and go ahead and just click on that. If you right-click or open up a new tab, then it won't disturb our live show right now, but you can pull up that tapping diagram, and you can also print it out if you'd like. But those are the original tapping points that Gary Craig, the founder of EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, had designed. And I mean, they're the tapping points are acupressure points on the body's meridian, and I call those the meridians, the energy highway of the body. It's like the veins in your body. It carries the blood to the organs and the cells and so forth throughout your body. Well, the energy highways, the meridians, carry the energy through all the cells and the organs and throughout the body. And so when you're tired, and you can simply tap on a couple of these points, and it really does energize you.
I,
Uh,
I have an example that I use when I'm giving public appearance speeches, whatever. But I did one last week at a cancer retreat, and mankind has been self-soothing ever since mankind was here. And for example, have you ever been just exasperated about something and you just do this,
mhm.
or you do this, or you do this? I don't know if anybody can see me, but you
Yeah,
rub right in your temples, and that's right where we have meridian endpoints.
yeah.
And you know, you do this. I mean, that's self-soothing, and man has been doing that
Mhm.
on their own, man, woman, but on our own for eons and eons. And what it is the meridian points, and you just normally, naturally go to them
Right.
and help your body settle down.
Yeah, it's something, it's like, oh my gosh, that's the first
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, and these are
yeah,
neurovascular points actually that you're covering across, and they're on the meridians, but they're
yeah.
also called, there's some specific points there. And what I like to do is I like to place my hand at the back of my head here
Uh-huh.
and put my hand across my forehead, and I just kind of relax my head into my hand in the back, and
And
just
that
take
is,
in some deep breaths, and it just really helps bring that intensity down.
yeah, self-soothing.
Hmm.
And that's again, that's what we are doing when we tap in EFT. We're
Yeah.
soothing our body. We're emitting serotonin from the brain, and that's a feel-good hormone, and it helps us relax. And these are all relaxation techniques as well as therapeutic techniques. As practitioners like Sandy and I are, we work with people and show them, you know, where to tap, what to tap on when they have an issue. So,
Well, speaking of tapping, Peggy, I see that we've got, well, we came on a little bit late, but it's about 7 minutes till the hour. Do you want to do a round of tapping on one of the many topics that we did cover today, and allow people who are listening now or even on the replay to follow along? And
sure,
okay,
sure.
all right.
I'll let you lead.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Next week, I'd like to show them an example of matrix reimprinting and how we can
Yes.
change some of the traumatic issues that we have gone through, both as
Okay.
caregiver and patient. So I'd be happy to follow you.
Okay, yeah, no, the matrix reimprinting was awesome. We did that on my radio show on W4CS.com a few weeks ago, and that's when you helped me through the situation, I believe it was with the nurse when I was in the hospital with Keith. So, yeah,
Yes.
that's an awesome technique, extension of the EFT.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's do just a global issue of stress. And I'd like to just state that stress is a global issue, and what you want to do, we can, as we move forward in the shows, you'll see that we'll be breaking down that global issue, like what's holding up that stress. It could be um, all the doctor appointments, there's not enough time in the day, I get angry, they don't respect me, whatever the issues are that are holding up that that overall cloud of stress. But if you take right now, um, if you take right now the global issue of stress and just think about it for a second, and how does that feel for you? And that means I'm looking for the intensity. When you think of the stress that you're under right now around the situation that you're in,
Yeah.
0 to 10. Now the stress would be 10 it's just off the charts. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't focus. I can't think.
Well, I will be the patient, or I will
Sure.
be the um, the JV partner putting this show on.
Yeah.
And we had some
Yeah.
pretty big issues before we went on air.
Yeah.
And so I was at about a 10.
Okay.
When we finally did connect, I said, Sandy, this is too stressful. So,
Yeah,
so
we'll work out the kinks, but yeah, okay, so we can go to that. I mean, it can be any stress. So this,
right,
the technology aspect of it is one of your quote unquote legs to the stress, right? And so then
right.
the next step is to ask yourself, where in your body do you feel the stress? Is it
Well,
overall or is it one specific area? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just how do you know you feel stressed?
well, I will tell you where I felt my stress when I could
Hmm.
not find you.
Hmm.
It was in my solar plexus,
Hmm.
and it was whirling around like it was spinning around like a top.
Okay. And how is it feeling in this moment?
Oh, it's much better.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll say it's a 7.
Okay. All right. So what I'm meaning is like in this moment when you think back when you were stressed out over it.
Okay, yeah, it's a 10.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
When we came finally connected,
Yeah.
I was flying at 10.
Okay. Okay. And then if you could put an emotion to that, what would that be in?
The emotion was kind of fear,
Okay.
because here we were promoting our show and we were going on in 3 minutes, and I couldn't find you, you couldn't find me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what the other thing that I want to say is that when you are, say you're a 6 or a 7 on an issue of intensity, and you begin to tap, sometimes, not all the time, and it's pretty rare, I think, Peggy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't find it happen too often that when you say you start at a certain intensity that it actually escalates. You
Uh,
know, you
I've
know.
only found that very rare in individuals when they really had a traumatic issue, and that first round just brought it right there, and they did escalate. But
Okay. And
typically,
so,
you're right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
typically it goes down.
Yeah, it's fairly rare. But if you do, if your intensity goes up, then what I'd like to suggest is that you continue to
Keep
tap.
tapping.
Keep tapping, and you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but I want you to tap all the points until that intensity comes back to the original starting point or below. And then you can make a choice of stopping or continuing on. But when it goes up, always stay with the tapping until it comes back to at least the original point,
Right,
intensity point. And
right.
then the other thing is if it becomes too overwhelming, locate a safe place, what I call a safe place, and that is somewhere where you feel you have always felt safe, that nothing or anyone could ever affect your happy place. It could be the smell of uh, chocolate chip cookies being baked, or going out to sitting on the beach. It could be taking a walk in the woods, or just cuddling with one of your dogs or your
Right,
spouse. Or so just go to that safe place if things get too intense, and just tap
right,
until it comes down. I
right,
always like to give people a little safety net, especially if they're new to tapping. And you're
right.
not right in front of me, so I want to make sure that you take self-responsibility there. So
Stay
we'll
safe.
just, yeah, stay safe. Yeah, definitely. So again, if you have the chart, it's at caregiversanity.com. On the menu bar, Google Plus, Hangouts, in the drop-down SD tapping diagram, so you'll be able to follow along. Okay, so we'll just start on the karate chop. That's right between the little finger and the wrist, either hand. You could go like this, tap on there. So just repeat after me, Peggy. Even though I had this fear,
Even though I had this fear,
I didn't know where you were.
I didn't know where you were.
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am. And that was
Even,
lost.
even though I felt lost
Even though I felt lost
and I had a lot of fear
and I had a lot of fear
and stress
and stress.
because we were going on air
We were going on air very soon,
and I didn't know where you were.
and I didn't know where you were.
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am.
Even though I had all this stress and fear,
Even though I had all this stress and fear,
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am.
On the eyebrow, all the stress and fear.
All this stress and fear,
Side of the eye, all the stress and fear.
all the stress and fear.
Under the eye, I was really lost.
I was really lost.
Under the nose, I didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do.
It really scared me.
It really scared me.
Collarbone, it was new.
It was new.
All this technology is new.
All this technology is new to me. She's a geek, folks. She can do anything. I can't do anything without her.
Oh, that's not true. All this stress
All this stress.
and all this fear.
stress. All this fear.
All this fear and stress.
All this fear and stress. I feel it coming down.
Yeah. And just on the collarbone, taking a deep breath and release it. And then we'll just check back in just around the stress and the fear.
Oh, it dropped.
Okay.
In my instance, it dropped to 1.
Okay, alrighty. And so what I want to do is just on the eyebrow, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder of stress and fear.
On the side of the eye, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder of stress and fear.
Under the eye, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder stress and fear.
Under the nose, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder stress and fear.
On the chin point, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder of stress and fear.
On the collarbone, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder stress and fear.
I'm going to go up to the top of the head, this remainder stress and fear.
This remainder stress and fear.
On the collarbone.
This
and
remainder.
Just taking a real deep breath.
This remainder stress and fear.
and release it.
Oh
And then
yeah.
we'll check back in on that stress and fear.
It's gone.
Good, good. So when you think of 3 minutes before the show today and you couldn't find me, we couldn't connect, how does that feel right now in this moment?
No big deal.
Okay, good. And that's just checking in to make sure there isn't a little, tail hanging out there that didn't get addressed.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So let's go
Right.
on the eyebrow. Let's go on the eyebrow. Even though I had all that fear,
Even though I had all that fear,
by the eye, I know I can do this.
I know I can do this
Under the eye, I'm capable of doing this.
as long as Sandy's there.
uh, I'm capable
I'm capable of
of
doing
doing this.
this. Yes, I am.
That's a new aspect of stress. That's a new aspect of stress. But we're just going to tap on I can do this.
I can do this.
This is new
This is new
and it's scary.
and it's scary.
Like most things are scary when they're new,
Like most things are scary when they're new.
and this is really new.
And this is really new.
I'm unfamiliar with it.
I'm unfamiliar with it.
I don't know everything that needs to be known,
I don't know everything that needs to be known.
and that's okay.
And that's okay.
I can reach out for help.
I can reach out for help. I was
Just
getting
like,
ready to call North Carolina. And by the way, people, a little levity, a little joking is okay.
hmm
It's not totally serious.
Yeah, definitely. Because what you're doing is you're bringing out what is on your mind, what your body needs. And this is
Right,
perfectly fine. Yeah, yeah. This is
right,
all part of releasing that stress and also integrating the positive that I can do all of this. I can do this.
I can do this.
I may not need to know all of it,
I may not need to know all of it,
and that's okay.
and that's okay.
It's going to work out.
Oh, it's going to work out
I
beautifully.
have a support team,
I have a support team,
and they're going to help me
and she's going to help me.
on the things that I don't know about.
And of the things I don't know about,
So I'm okay with this now.
I'm okay with this now.
It's technology.
It's technology.
It has a mind of its own sometimes,
Well, it did this morning.
and it did this morning, definitely. But I'm okay.
But I'm okay.
I am okay.
I am okay.
Okay, taking a real deep breath. And what that last round was is like integrating the process that it is okay to have a support team. It's okay to not have to do it all yourself, and it's okay that things didn't go perfectly.
Right.
Okay? And of
Right.
course, you know, depending on how our learned beliefs, maybe it's like things have to be perfect all the time. And so that's a learned belief. And that's an issue a separate issue that would be addressed another time. But that's one of the things that are holding up the stress around technology stress.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So there's many, many, many facets to stress. And when you can get real, real specific, as you were saying, Peggy, it was like, well, I couldn't find you. I can't do this on my own. Um, those are specific issues to the technology stress, the big
And
global thing.
I would like to add, Sandy, that it almost always goes back to a childhood memory.
hmm
And that's where matrix reimprinting will come in, because I was back at 3 years old, lost in this dime store, and they were called that back then,
hmm
and couldn't find my mom. And
Okay.
even though you're not my mom, it
Right.
was the same feeling, and it was stressful.
Yes. And it's a memory that your body hung onto because your body back when you were 3 said, this is how I have to react. This is how I act when this happens. And so when you find yourself in that situation, or a similar situation. You couldn't find someone, so there was fear and there was stress. And what I would suggest that if you or anyone else, after, if something came up specific like that, and that's what we're looking for. That's why what we did was we tapped on the global issue of stress, and what came up was the specific core issue as to why you reacted or responded in the way you did.
Right.
Because it occurred when you were 3 years old. So I would address that. Um, and I mean, we can do that, or we can, you can do it on your own. But it's something that actually we could do the matrix reimprinting on that next week if you want. But I
Yeah.
really don't like. I mean, if that came up, I here I am. I don't like letting anything hang out there. So, is there something on that 3-year-old that we can tap on uh, in the moment now?
Well, it pretty much, see, my having a knowledge of matrix reimprinting, I did see her and I did tap on her as well as myself,
Hmm.
and that pretty much took care of the issue for me.
Oh,
And
good.
and
Okay.
I want to thank you for helping me get rid of that trauma from my 3-year-old days.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I haven't thought of that. Well, I'm a grown lady, and I haven't thought of that in a lot of years.
And this is why tapping, you wonder, well, would it work on this? Would it work on that? And if you're not sure even what to say, what I created was your silent awakening. And I just tap on the points when I know there's something wrong, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yep.
And then I just quietly, sometimes I'll listen to meditative music and while I'm tapping, and I just allow the doorways to open up to what my body needs, what needs attention. And your
Exactly.
3-year-old came through. So that's
Yes.
that wonderful example of how you can get to that. And this is really, it's helpful to work with a practitioner, because sometimes when that comes in, you might have one, several things. One, you may feel, I don't have time to go there. So you miss that wonderful opportunity to address it.
Yes.
Um, and that's why I was led to say, do you want to tap on it? But you said that was, you were able to take care of it, and that was awesome. But
Yep.
the other is that you might judge it. You may, oh, it can't have anything to do with that.
It almost
Or,
always does.
and it almost always does. And the other is, this is the one that I get all the time. Oh, I have worked on that for years. I've got that. That can't be it. It's all cleared up.
Yeah.
Well, I say, if it shows up, it needs cleared up.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
still something out there that needs attention, whether it's just an awareness that it's still there, or where it began, or that you need to do some tapping. So wonderful,
Exactly.
Peggy. I'm glad that we were able to demonstrate that in live time. That's cool.
Yeah. That helped a lot. Thank you so
So good.
much.
Well, we are over our hour. I
Uh-oh.
just want to, yeah, and well, we were late getting in here, so I want to give everybody a full hour, the best we can. And just want to thank everyone for listening to the replay, being here on the live call. And please come back, share your comments, go to survivingthediagnosis.com/GH dash I want access. And as soon as you put in your information, you will get on the list to receive reminders on Monday morning. I will not bombard you with a lot of emails. It's just simply to get you in the right spot so you can share your comments. And if you want to be live and share with us on the call, just check the little box that I want to speak live on the show, and that way I can send you out the link so you can get at the bottom and be on with Peggy and I and talk back and forth like we do. And
Yeah.
but that's a special link for that. And you do not need a video for that. However, we'd love to connect with you, but you don't need a video. However, you do need earbuds. You need a headset like Peggy has, or earbuds will work fine the microphone just on your computer gives feedback, and it's not real clear. So
Yeah.
again, just go to survivingthediagnosis.com/GH. I want access, and fill in your information, and you'll be all set for next week. And I'm just going to pass it over to Peggy and sign off here. I'm Sandy Conkar with caregiversanity.com.
Hey, and I just want to say thank you if you joined us today, or if you're going to listen to us later. We'll be very happy to answer any questions next Monday, and would love to have you on board with us and possibly tap. So this is Peggy Mangan, joyaftercancer.com, and signing off.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye.